Hello everybody, I hope you're doing okay. Another herb I wanted to talk to you about in this springtime that's just starting to raise its head above the ground right now is wild garlic. Now, a lot of people have been messaging me and saying that actually they're spending more time in outdoor spaces than they might usually have done, and this is a great thing. So what I would say to you is that when you're walking along, if you're in kind of forested or woody areas, particularly places that have like a grassy embankment, often you will start to smell garlic around you. And if you have never figured out where that's come from before, then now is definitely the time to find that out. So what that's coming from is a plant called wild garlic. And the leaves look like this. I have some pictures of it actually in situ, so I will add them in the comments below. And these leaves smell and taste of really, really pungent garlic. Okay, and you can use them to cook with. So not only are they tasty, but they are also incredibly good for you. So if we think about the health benefits that we already know are attributable to garlic, it has an antibiotic action. Interestingly, when garlic goes into the gut, it doesn't kill all living things indiscriminately. It kills the bad guys, but it actually supports the growth of the good gut flora. We don't know how it does this, but it does. So garlic is antibiotic, antimicrobial. We use it a lot in preventative cough and cold mixes, things like that. It's pungent and heating, and it's also very good for blood vessel health, and it can help lower blood pressure. And wild garlic is particularly good at that part of things. So lots of reasons why it'd be a good idea to eat this stuff just now, apart from the fact that it is really delicious, and there's something incredibly special about picking your own food from the wild. We've seen foraging going crazy in the media in the last few years, and this is certainly a bit of foraging that I make sure we do every single year. A word on foraging, or wild crafting as herbalists would call it, and have called it for a bit longer than foraging was about. The rule is take only a tenth, because we are not the only ones who are relying on these plants. Take only a tenth, and don't pick the first patch that you come across, pick the second, so that you're leaving enough for the creatures that also need it. And we're not decimating suddenly areas of our local forest or woodland by being greedy and taking more than we need. So the rules of, not stockpiling absolutely apply to herbs as well. So once you've found your wild garlic, it tends to grow closely together in clumps. Do be careful, because the leaves do resemble that of lily of the valley, which, although it's incredibly amazing herbal medicine, is also incredibly toxic and must only be used under supervision. So what I would say to you is pick the leaves carefully. You can also pick, once it comes to flower, it's not quite in flower yet, but I'm in Scotland, so I'll be about 2 to 3 weeks behind any of you in the south of England, and those further afield, of course. So you can also use the stalk and the flower. That's absolutely fine. But at the moment I only have the leaf to choose from, and that's my preferred bit. So basically, pick the leaf, take it home, wash it, dry it on a tea towel, and check that every leaf is wild garlic, and you will know by the incredibly distinctive smell. One of the things I love about preparing this is the fact that it doesn't keep very well. So you have to go out and you have to engage with nature in order to get your hands on it. And then you make as much food as you can with it for a stretch of several weeks, depending on how the season goes. And then really, apart from a couple of jars of pesto you might be able to hang on to for a few weeks, it's gone until next year. So enjoy it. It would be a great ingredient to add into your fire cider. So if you've seen that film that we did the other day, and thank you for all your comments and feedback and emails that I've had and pictures of your fire cider, that's amazing. If you go out and you find some wild garlic and you think you quite like to add that in as well, absolutely do it. Just bung it in. It's completely fine. Okay, so essentially what I'm going to show you, my favourite, quickest recipe, easiest way to get through this is pesto. So essentially I'm going to, I don't quite have the setup where I can show you this yet, but I'm taking my bunches of leaves like that and I'm just roughly chopping them, okay, across. I've forgotten my knife, so let me just grab that. So I'm just really roughly chopping these so that they will go through my blender, okay, and I'm going to grab my, now I have a NutriBullet, so you can do this two ways I've found. You can either do it with a hand blender, one of these into one of those with all the ingredients, or you can put everything, or you can put everything into your NutriBullet. Be aware that for the NutriBullet it has to be wet enough. So look, there are my pieces. I'm probably, if I was properly making this now, I would probably double that up. I'm then going to add olive oil. You can use any oil that you like, but this is what gives the medium, the liquid medium for your food processor to work with. As I said yesterday, and I still don't have any, I've not got any lemons, so I am going to put some lemon juice in just for a bit of sharpness. And then I'm going to add, you can use nuts and seeds of any kind. Obviously with pesto it's usually pine nuts, so I've got some pine nuts here still, but I've also used walnuts, pecans, pumpkin seeds, you name it, but just a bit of seed, a bit of nuts and seeds in there. And then I've also got grated, that's not Parmesan cheese, I don't know how well you can see that, that's Grana Padano, which is just what I happen to have, and I've got some of that left, so I'm going to add that in, and then literally I am going to blitz that. And what happens, I'm going to do a proper Delia Smith here, what happens when you have done that is you will get a pesto. Here's one that we're using up, okay, can you see that? That is the most unbelievably vibrant green. So this, you can either make the garlic pesto, the wild garlic pesto, pure wild garlic leaves. I find that a bit too pungent for me. My husband loves it, but what I do is I quite often do half wild garlic leaves and half fresh spinach leaves. Also, of course, you can use basil leaves if you've got them, but that's probably unlikely at this time of the year. So if you have got some spinach or leftover salad even, salad bag, that's fine. Bung that in if you want to make it a little bit less pungent. And really, you'll find your way with this. If you're not making pesto, then you can just use it instead of garlic through your cooking. Just be aware that the leaves are not going to keep for very long. So pesto is also a good way to preserve it for a bit longer. Or at the very least, if you don't want to go into making the whole pesto, you could chop up all the wild garlic and keep it under oil. So pop it in little jam jars or jars of that kind of size. Make sure you've got enough oil in to just cover it, and that will keep for 4 to 6 weeks, I would say, before that's going to turn. So I hope that that's helpful. If you've never met wild garlic before, I'd absolutely love to know what you think. It's one of my absolute favourites in the year, and if you if you are already a friend of wild garlics and you have recipes to share, that would be fantastic. Please do that on my Facebook page at Pamela Spence Herbalist. I hope you're all keeping well and safe, and take care. Bye bye.